It's me trying to understand the illness that's present that seeks such display as the remedy. It's better to be focused than intelligent. It, it's just study of emotion, right? Because when I wrote my book, first time author, you got to look at how to market it. So you got to study now book marketing in particular. He just happens to be the number one seller in the same category. So it's interesting to see the gravity of those connections, of those nodal points. When looking at this, I'd be like, wow. So you got to remember what focus is. Focus is insight, right? Like look at like a fuck was used. And I don't mean the cuss word. I mean FOC, fuck. So a fuck was used to bring it here, whatever a fuck is, right? That's focused. See? If we look at it like this, FOC was used. All right? So somebody used the fuck to move something into perspective, your perspective. And the thing is, the more you focus on any one point in time or space, any one point, you pick the point, right? The more you focus on any one point in time or space, the more it expands. So you become microscopic. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The thing about focus is it must already be present for it to be in sight. Again, a fuck was used to somehow place it before you. That's COD, that's cash on delivery. You have to already be in position to recognize the value before you invest. So focus is a gift, right? But it's a disease too, because like everything's a gift and a curse, right? So the question becomes, if someone gives you this peephole, remember you used to put a quarter in this, so you paid your little quarter. They give you a peephole, and maybe this rotates 40 degrees. Yeah, we know that there's 360 degrees if you go all the way around in a circle. But they're going to give you 40, and on a 40-degree pivot, and then on top of that, they're going to give you a peephole to examine detail. What I'm getting at is that's your cash on delivery. You must recognize the value before you invest. You wanted to see what was across the, let's say this is a river. So you wanted to see what was across the river up close from the vantage point that you were. And that reinforces the problem or the greater opportunity with being focus oriented. Is focus causes stagnation, right? Because you were, what I have here, the way I described it is, for the moment to become infinite, right? There must be a loss of its associated momentum. So look at this viewpoint here. You were on some sort of journey, some sort of adventure as enterprise. And here is the yellow looking glass. Someone charged you a quarter for it to narrow your perception from the infinite. That is the problem with focus. Now, you can sit here for days off of that quarter, not off the same quarter, by the way, and take in the infinity of detail that's in that little narrow patch of land that you're going to be able to turn, maybe rotate a little bit of the sky, maybe bend down a little bit and see some of the water. And you could spend a lifetime dissecting the detail of that patch of Earth realm. And that's the problem with this type of emotional leadership, right? It's better to be focused than intelligent, because intelligence is going to tell you, well, maybe there's more to it. Let's look at how that affected another area in sports. Over roughly the last century, world-class sprinters have reduced the men's 100-meter world record by around 0.8 seconds. That's the success of focus. When the moment is divided infinitely, because the closer you get to limits, progress appears not to exist. So when you look at some of your clients, sometimes it's not that they're not progressing. It's that they've actually reached their limits. Yeah, in the beginning, they may have signed up saying they wanted to be the world-class thought leader, right? But somewhere along the way, maybe it was post getting like someone, they haven't done anything in real life, but they're getting text message now because of visibility that says people are proud of them. So what's the dopamine going to come from in that moment for someone who didn't really mean, their goal is this, right? Because they didn't lock in for that. Okay. Intelligence is about bringing forth what is beyond the focus. So when you look at your clients, they may have reached the limits of their perception. What does it take to be a world champion per their definition? That's their focus. Intelligence says you can't run forever. Intelligence asks, do you want to be the fastest human or the human that goes the fastest? Because right now, the 100-meter people are all saying they're the fastest man alive, right? So intelligence is imagination to innovate. It's how you actually taxied off the runway, maybe parked the Lamborghini, and can post wall art of a Bugatti or a Pagani. That's intelligence. Because the limitation of human speed focused on world championship class running gained 0.08 seconds. I think some of these aircrafts are going definitely over Mach. We can say Mach just to be safe. So, do you want to be the fastest human or the human that goes the fastest? Because what it takes to win is not sustainable, regardless. But at the end of the enterprise, which one will have gone the farthest? The world record sprint runner or the B 2 bomber, right? That's the same thing that actually happened in the comparison from stability, which was the propaganda in 1933, and now the buzzword of sustainability in 2026. It's really the same thing. We'll look at that in a moment. Right now, you know, this is what it kind of looks like. When you're focused, you're the ball in the upside down glass. Who put you in that glass? So the same thing that has them talking about point 0 or 0.8 seconds over 100 years being the definition of greatness divided by an infinite amount of people, that's the same thing. Stability and sustainability, all they did was mix us up in a process. See? Stability, sustainability is actually the word stability with us in a blank mixed in it. So when you ask yourself, would you rather be able to bring something into existence through intelligence, through imagination, or to have only sight of what's in front of you, be focused? You only have to remember this one thing. This image here is also focus. So you may call it out of focus. It's blurry. You can't tell anything. But it is a focal point. So the problem with focus is you don't know necessarily if you're dealing with clarity or not. Because you're exploring an infinity that you have reached, you only have what you have to go on. And if that's someone telling you to be focused and not intelligent, then you may be accepting a lot of blurriness in life. So there's only a certain limit, here we go again, a limit of blurriness before certain jurisdictions call you legally blind. The legally blind are focused too. What they have done, a lot of them, is learn to use their intelligence to go beyond their natural limitations. Just like the pilot and the rider of the 737 compared to the world champion 100-meter runner. You gotta look at your leadership. Your leadership is supporting the disease. Because as long as they can keep you focused, you'll sacrifice intelligence for the offer of acceptance.